SAP has built a control tower for every AI agent running in your landscape, including the ones SAP did not build. It is called the AI Agent Hub, and it is being positioned as the answer to two different problems at once: agent sprawl and the growing criticism that SAP is closing itself off. So the question worth asking is simple. Does a governance layer owned by your ERP vendor actually reduce your concentration risk, or does it just move that risk one floor up? The title here is not only a joke about a song. Hotel California is the cleanest description I have for what a captured architecture feels like. The door is open. Leaving is the expensive part. By the end of this video, you will know what the hub does today, what the two loudest critics are saying, and the one test that settles the argument. If you appreciate this type of content, gently tap that like button. Let's get into it. Alright, first up, what the hub actually is and where it actually lives, because that gets muddled constantly. The hub is built on SAP Lean IX. Agents are modeled as a subtype of the application fact sheet, which means it reuses the application portfolio management model you may already have. You reach it either as a Lean IX customer or through the Business AI platform if you have Joule Studio or AI units. And here is the part people get backwards. The hub does not run your agents, it does not execute them, and it does not orchestrate them. Your agents run in AI Foundation, built and operated through Joule Studio and Cloud ALM. The hub is the layer that watches and permits. So it is a registry with a governance layer on top. It automatically discovers AI agents, large language models, and MCP servers across your landscape, pulling from SAP, Microsoft, Google, AWS, Databricks, and ServiceNow. Everything it finds lands in your inventory in an unverified state. You then run a structured assessment on each one, capturing a risk rating, a build type, and compliance mappings, and you attach the architecture decision that explains why that agent exists at all. The part that gives it real teeth is runtime enforcement. Only verified MCP servers can be called in production workflows, and when verification status changes, access is revoked. Now here is a detail that gets skipped in most of the coverage. Only 2 of the 6 capabilities are generally available right now. The other 4 are scheduled for this quarter, and those 4 are the ones that matter most: agent identity management, observability with session-level monitoring, and performance monitoring tied to business KPIs. So a lot of what turns this into a genuine control plane rather than a very good spreadsheet has not shipped yet. And it is bundled at no additional charge, which matters for what comes next. Next is the thing that makes the timing awkward. Earlier this year, SAP published an updated API policy. Section 2.2.2 prohibits using SAP APIs for interaction with semi-autonomous, autonomous, or generative AI systems that plan, select, or execute sequences of API calls. In plain language, third-party AI agents do not get to work your SAP data unless SAP endorses the pathway. And this was not just a document sitting on a website. Enforcement began in June with a security patch that technically blocks a class of non-compliant calls. SAP's CEO softened the message on the quarterly investor call, saying the intent is protecting SAP's domain expertise and preventing performance degradation, not blocking customers from reaching their own data. You can take that at face value, and there is a reasonable version of that argument. But the sequence still reads a certain way. The company restricts who may operate against your data and then ships the tool that decides who is allowed. Quick break because I want your read on this one. I genuinely do not think there is a clean answer here. Drop a comment with your take. Is a vendor-run governance layer a fair trade or a problem you are storing up for later? I read all of them, and the sharp ones usually change my mind about something. All right, back to it. So here is the critique, and it is more precise than the usual complaining about vendors. The independent analyst Kai Waehner maps enterprise AI vendors on two axes: how much you trust the vendor's AI and how much lock-in you are accepting. His read on SAP is that SAP is genuinely open at the model layer. You really can swap the model. The lock-in has moved up the stack into the data, the context, and the orchestration. His framing is that the model is the replaceable part and the context, data, and orchestration around it are not. Sit with that for a second, because it reframes this entire conversation. And remember what I said earlier. The hub does not orchestrate anything. That sounds like it weakens the argument. It does the opposite. The hub is where agent identity, verification, and runtime permission live, which makes it the policy decision point. You do not need to own the orchestrator if you own the permission to run. And being vendor agnostic about which agents you may register is not the same thing as being vendor neutral about who holds the switch. Forrester made a related argument even more bluntly in a piece titled SAP is attempting to become the gatekeeper of enterprise AI. CIOs should push back. Their view is that closed architectures work when the vendor is winning on capability, and that SAP is closing from a position of AI weakness rather than strength. They point at SAP's own pricing as the tell. Joule Studio is free through the end of the year. Agent Runtime is free through the end of the year. Interoperability is free with no cap, and there is a 100 million euro partner fund on top. That is an unusual amount of concession for a product line that is supposedly winning. Now, before you take any of that as a verdict, here is the other side, and Waehner makes this case himself. A captured position can be completely rational. If you are a global manufacturer running SAP at the core, your finance team does not need to be thinking about foundation models. The AI is infrastructure. Accepting capture in exchange for AI embedded in the processes you already run is a defensible trade. And Forrester's own research puts 21% of enterprise SaaS decision makers naming vendor lock-in as a top commercial concern, which means the large majority are naming something else: speed, cost, integration. So this is not a story about a villain. It is a story about a trade and whether anyone in your organization actually priced it. Which brings me to the test I would use. Forrester put it better than anyone else has, and it is the one line I would write on a whiteboard before any agent hub decision. The remaining proof point is enforcement parity, meaning, does verified status translate into equivalent closed-loop controls and telemetry depth across agent runtimes SAP does not own? Not equivalent discovery. Anyone can list a Microsoft agent in a table. Equivalent enforcement. When your third-party agent misbehaves, does the hub revoke it with the same authority and see it with the same depth as it would a Joule agent? If the answer is yes, then the vendor agnostic claim is real and this is honest governance. If the answer is no, then what you have is a control plane that governs everyone else's agents loosely and its own tightly, and that is not a governance solution. That is a home field advantage with a compliance report attached. I do not know the answer, and neither does anyone else yet, because 4 of the 6 capabilities have not shipped. So ask your account team for the enforcement parity evidence in writing before you make this your strategic AI architecture. And if you want to go deeper on how to evaluate the tooling in an SAP transformation without simply taking the vendor's word for it, I made a video on exactly that. And you can check it out by clicking right here.